Hey everybody, this is Perch. In the latest issue of Exceptional X-Men, they reveal that Kitty Pryde's going out on a date with a girl. And it is, people are celebrating it as the latest get for the LGBTQ community. What bugs me about this, and I'm not speaking for anybody but me, it's when people celebrate, not like, hey, this is an amazing story with a good relationship, but instead celebrate we got another one. Take that, incels. It's when the celebration has insults thrown into it, into another group, where it feels less genuine of celebrate. It doesn't feel like somebody's like, wow, I read the comic and really enjoyed kind of where they're going with this character. It's that, hey, fuck off, pal. That's the part that why do that? And for what it's worth, and every now and then somebody wanders onto my channel and just posts the nastiest shit. Usually the people who post the most, I don't know, there's the two extremes, right? The people who post the most vulgar stuff are either, in some cases, sock puppets. There's a guy who runs another channel who will do it. But more often than not, it is somebody who is like, you're clearly a bigot. It's just like, let me just throw the collection of random terms at you. It's bigot, hate monger, alt-right, misinformation, Russian, agent. Like, it's like, oh, okay, you watch the news today. But I like going there always seems weird to me. And I think if you're taking that approach based on what I say, is it a hot take to say I wish people would enjoy the story and the character development and not celebrate, getting one over on another group? That it just seems gross to me. Doesn't it? Like I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way. But anyway, so this mail is asking basically just that. It says, Dear Perch, as you probably have seen or heard, Kitty Pryde is revealed to be gay, and there's like a question mark, or bisexual, in the latest issue of Exceptional X-Men. I know this is picking up from the Kiss a Tattoo Artist, that's in quotes, in Jerry Duggan's Marauders series. Was that Duggan who did that one, or was it Orlando? I forget who did that scene. It doesn't really matter, but anyway. In the Krakoa era, she went to go get a tattoo, and then she kissed the tattoo artist, and, it's like, ooh, she kissed a girl, and she liked it. She was giving it a little sappy grin. Cool. As I recall, and I may be wildly off about this, but the scene was weird because I think she got knuckle tattoos that said Kill Shaw, if I'm remembering the issue right. And it seems a little weird to, she's getting a tattoo on her body to go get revenge on someone who killed her. And so there's a angry path of revenge, I've been wronged aspect to this. And, and you're going to pause in the moment of your revenge to kiss a girl and have a little silly smile, and then go back to your path of revenge. I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. It feels like, hey, I'm interested in trying out girls, but at the moment I'm focused on murdering somebody. So I don't know. I guess you could do both, kiss girls and murder people. I guess. It seems weird. Anyway, back to the mail. My question is this. Some people have said that Kitty Pryde was always written by Chris Claremont to be gay, but is this another Bobby Drake situation where people are interpreting panels to basically read in what they want to, as opposed to a thoughtful plan for the character? Curious on your take on this, given that you've read all of the X-Men titles you have. So here's my honest answer for you. There's probably more evidence of Kitty Pryde being bisexual, or at least into women, certainly than there was with Bobby. With Bobby, there was very, very little. It was literally a panel that a lot of people anchored on. It was a panel that was, widely misinterpreted from the 60s, and it ignored other panels in the same comic. So I think with Bobby, and then with Bobby, you had a lot of history of him being kind of horny all the time for women and other things. It just, that one's a lot tougher. You really have to buy into the idea that he was closeted the whole time and he was, fighting a lie and all the rest. You have to really believe that's what was going on with Iceman, but he wasn't written that way by the vast majority of writers. With Kitty, there was more there. I think Claremont would hint at stuff, but frankly, in Claremont's run, a lot of characters were often written to be. It was the way he wrote the dialogue and kind of the characters, where it was just, I believe, but it's a belief. It's not based on kind of any fact. That a lot of what he was doing was trying to write these bonds, these friendships with the teams. And he did it in kind of a weird way. I mean, he'd have various X-Men kissing each other at different times. Rarely the same sex. Every now and then women would, kiss each other on the forehead, but it wasn't romantic as much as it was, like Storm kisses Wolverine before they go into the Citadel in an annual issue. But it's like, here we go, chum, into the breach. And so it's not, I didn't take a lot of romance from it. And a lot of the scenes that are getting kind of drug up now with Kitty Pryde, it's like, look, she was, tickling Ileana on her bed. It's like, I think Claremont was trying to write friendship here. I don't think he was trying to write these girls are horny and about to go at it. I think he was writing more friendship. And I think that is being interpreted more as signs that she's gay. But, again, to be completely honest, there were more signs. It's a weird way of saying it. There was just more character development that would make that not a complete left turn in the character if she was gay or bisexual. But here's the problem with a lot of these characters, and it's a problem you get when you have, unclear kind of character Bible, meaning, what this character is supposed to be, and editorial's not really controlling it. Is it, like Bendis had Kitty Pryde in a relationship with Bobby. They have, of course, the very long relationship of Kitty, a little bit with Kitty and Doug, a long one with Colossus. Kitty has dated, for the majority of when we've seen her in comics, she's been into men for 95% of that run. And, most of those relationships were flawed in a variety of ways. And so that's where you could make more of an argument that, there you have it. Claremont has said in interviews that he always intended for Kitty and Rachel to get together, Rachel Summers. And again, you can look at the way some of this was written and you can see that. But you can also see them being friends. The problem is he didn't really write, Kitty Pryde and Rachel Summers and their friendship much differently than he wrote, Wolverine and Nightcrawler's friendship. And unless you believe that Claremont was hinting all along that Nightcrawler and Wolverine were gay, it's just hard to make that case for me. And the other problem is that Claremont, and he admits this, I've talked to him personally on many occasions. I've talked to him, 2 years ago for a long time. And he admits, and maybe admits the wrong word, but he says he often kind of changes his mind about things and makes up stories about where he was going with things. I mean, there was this famous bit where he did a panel and talked about, I think Kitty Pryde was going to be the love child of Black Panther, and it's like he was clearly screwing with everyone. So you can't look at his words and go, well, he was serious about this comment when he said that Kitty and Rachel were always intended to be together, but he was not serious when he said that Kitty Pryde was going to be Black Panther's daughter. Like you can't selectively just pick and choose when Claremont was screwing with people and when he wasn't. I think you have to make a call at some point about what you're going to take seriously and what you're not. Again, I'm being fair, being reasonable here. The jump of Kitty Pryde being, bisexual is not a huge jump. certainly not compared to Bobby and other things we've seen. There's at least a little bit more rationale there. Again, this is not me going, it all makes sense, because it doesn't. But I guess I was getting to that a minute ago. The problem you have with comic characters is that, they're owned by Marvel. So the true creator of Kitty Pryde is Marvel. It's not Chris Claremont, because you get Bendis coming in and writing things, you get Joe Casey coming to write things, you get Grant Morrison, you get all these different writers, Joss Whedon. Read Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men run with Kitty and Colossus, and that was written 100% with the idea that Kitty was straight. Absolutely. There's no ifs, whens, and buts about it. That's how she was written. So you can always go back to the argument of, yeah, but people can change their mind in life. And yeah, it's for sure they can. It usually helps, though, if there's at least some storyline, some indication, some lead up to this, as opposed to surprise, that often happens in comic books because people don't usually put in the work to paint that picture, to basically lay the groundwork of the character so it makes sense. So the problem is, each writer that came on to Kitty, had a different take on her. So let's say Chris Claremont really he was hinting at this. It was truthful, and he was hoping to get Kitty and Rachel together. Okay, cool. Except then he goes off the title, and in comes, Grant Morrison and writes her, completely different take on the character. And then in comes, Joss Whedon, and he does a completely different take on the character and writes her super straight. And then the latest, who is it? Eve Ewing comes on Exceptional X-Men, is like, nope, she's always been gay. It's like, she hasn't, though. Because she in a weird, twisted way, you could say she hasn't been anything or everything. Each writer came on and put a different spin on her sexuality, and they completely contradict each other because there's no goddamn editorial standards anywhere. And so your guess is as good as mine. She's all of the above and none of the above. But, to answer the question directly, I think it's less of a stretch. Okay. Doesn't mean, maybe you could go, damn it, no, she dated Colossus all that time. I mean, sure, but it also ended badly and it was weird and clunky and she was very young at the time. And I don't know. You could make a rational argument around that one. But in the end, fuck it. Who cares? I think because, if the comics sell really poorly, then, surprise, in a couple of years she'll be straight and boning Colossus. That's the funny part. But anyway, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.